Hey everybody, it is your boy, Kuroyuki ESO, back today with yet another build video and gameplay commentary for you guys. This one has been requested a pretty good bit, surprisingly. It is my Magicka Templar build that I have been playing for Greymoor, and probably won't be changing it. May never play it again if all the changes that have been on the forums actually do go through next patch, but it is what it is. Now, Magplar has been kind of rough to try to build this patch because the healing changes and just a lot of things just did not go well for Magplar solo. I race changed this character 4 times from Dark Elf to High Elf, back to Dark Elf, then to Argonian, and then now Breton, but I finally found something that I'm comfortable with, and I'm definitely enjoying it now. It's pretty good. It's good, good survivability, good damage, good sustain. It's just an all-around good build with no proc cheese, unless you count Ninja Guardian. But yeah, before we hop into the build, I do just want to go ahead and say thank you everyone for helping me get to my 1,000 sub goal. Happened just a few days ago, and I haven't made a video to address it yet, but I do really want to tell everyone that is subbed that I appreciate the shit out of you. Thank you so much. This has been just a little bit of a dream of mine, you know, just, I don't know, having 1,000 people that are interested in watching me play my stupid video games, you know, I don't know. It's just super cool, and I hope that I can continue to make content for you guys that you guys enjoy. So as long as you guys are interested in seeing content, I will continue to make it. If you have any recommendations, any requests for content you would like to see, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. Please remember to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and consider leaving a sub if you are new. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on over into the build. Alright, so let's go ahead and just jump right on into the build. Gonna go ahead and buff up as fully as we can here. Whoopsie. Alright, so 3.4k spell, 32% crit, 37k mag, 28k health, 16.5k stam. That is on the back bar. On the front bar, we've got 3573 spell damage with about 35k mag, 1.2k mag recoup. Not that impressive, but you know, it's enough. Resistances are also not too bad. Inside room, we got 32,301 spell, 28,362 physical, stepping out. Still pretty high. Then on the front bar, respectable. So that is the stat sheet. This is a Breton. I am using the Atronach, and my food is Bewitched Sugar Skulls, and I am of course a Vampire Stage 3. I would not use if you're not planning on being Stage 3, do not use Vampire. It's just not even worth it, honestly. You could try Stage 2, but Undeath is kind of the passive we're going for, so. Yeah, that is the stat sheet. Now let's just go ahead and hop into the gear that I'm using. Now, first things first is back bar. I've got 2-piece Bright Throat's Boast. I only have this here because I don't have 2 Sword and Board of Willpower, which is what I want, at least not in the right traits and gold and everything. So, preferably you want to have a Sword and Board of Willpower back here, powered on the one-hander and sturdy on the shield, the Magicka enchantment. This is just to give us a little bit of extra healing power on the back bar. Escapist Poisons. You can use any kind of poison you want on the back bar, but I do like the Escapist ones on the Magplar because they really do help us get out of a bunch of sticky situations, and they can really help out when you least expect it. And then on the front bar, I do have 5 spinners. Now I know there's sets that do more damage than spinners, but hear me out. Spinners has a really good, consistent, like, always there damage. You know, other sets, they have like proc conditions, you know, like stuns. Lots of people are using stuns on Plar, and I don't like stuns because you have to activate it manually, first of all. Second of all, it doesn't give max. I like when my damage sets give max on magic characters, and it doesn't really affect their healing too much. So, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think it actually might have better healing on for the front bar, you know, single bar thing, but not by much, and I do like the max, so Either stuns or spinners, they both work, but I like spinners because I like to build a little bit of extra max. This is only active on the front bar. This is a sharpened lightning staff with a shock glyph. You could also use a weapon damage glyph. Up to you, that is a preference thing, but I wouldn't use anything else. And again, only active on front bar. Then I do have Engine Guardian. If you haven't seen Engine Guardian around, I don't know why, because lots of people are using Engine Guardian right now. It is a really, really good set. It gives us a line of health recovery, which is absolutely useless because we are a vampire and we don't have any other health recovery on the build. Actually, that's a lie. Either way, though, the health recovery gets mitigated down to nothing and it's pointless. It's a waste of the stat bonus. But the good thing about the set is the two-piece. When you use an ability, you have a 25% chance to summon a little Dwemer Sphere dude to give back either health, magic, or stam. The great thing about this is that it's pretty much always up because it procs so consistently now. The heal on this thing is ridiculous, and if you don't get the heal, you're getting resource back, and all three of those resources can be very useful on Templar, especially the way I'm playing it. If you get mag, obviously you can heal, you can use your abilities, all that good stuff, and if you get stam, you can hold LT, you can block like a champion. So yeah, also, it comes out of the ground and acts as a little body blocking guy for you. It'll take a lot of damage for you, gives you some really good mitigation. So that's not to be underestimated, especially in like a 1v1 scenario or 1v2. It can be really helpful if you kite around this little guy. And then the last set is Ancient Dragon Guard. There are a lot of good damage sets you can go for. I personally like this one because I think it plays in really well with Stage 3 Vampire, because it gives us a lot of weapon and spell damage above 50% health, where we are actually using the weapon and spell damage. And then below 50% we get a pretty good chunk of resistances, so that just stacks on top of our Undeath passive, making us very incredibly tanky at low health and just hard to put down. And we do have enough spell damage and max magicka to make up for the lack of spell damage at the low health. Not a big deal. So the rest of the set is a line of health, which is always helpful. Weapon spell damage, weapon spell crit, again, not the most helpful, but helpful. And the reason it's not the most helpful is because this is a 5 heavy build. So we got heavy, heavy, heavy. Then we have light Ancient Dragon Guard on the waist, medium on the hands, so that way we can get our 5-1-1 without sacrificing anything. And then heavy, heavy. I have 2 triglyphs. You don't need any more than 2. You might not even need 2. You could probably get away with just 1, actually. I might do that just to push out a little bit more damage, but then I also do have 2 sturdy and the rest are impenetrable. The shield sturdy as well, so across all of the gear we have 3 sturdy, so blocking is pretty cheap and we can hold the block button for quite a good while. And then coming down to the jewelry, we have the spinner's jewelry. I have 2 infused with spell damage, and I have 1 arcane with reduced cost. Now, the reduced cost from Breton and this, on top of the recovery we get from Breton and the recovery we get from the Atronach Stone, which is getting buffed next patch, mind you, is plenty of sustain. And we have heavy, so we're getting the Constitution passive. We've got the Rune, we've got Ellie Drain on this build, and we do have Engine Guardian, so even though the magicka recovery looks pretty low on the stat sheet, we do have pretty solid sustain. If you want to, and you don't really want to waste Transmutation Stones, you can leave this as Arcane. You'll only lose out at about 60-ish effective spell damage, and it's not too big of a deal. And you'll have more mag to spam your abilities if you need to, so that's a preference thing. I'm kind of comfortable with the lower magic pool and just a tiny bit more damage. And one more side note, you can make both of these, the medium and the light, you can make them both light if you want just a little bit of extra sustain, because you will get a little more cost reduction and a little bit more recovery if you make this also light, while sacrificing a little bit of max stats. So that will do it for the gear. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the skills now. Starting on the front bar, we do have Purifying Light. You know what this does. If you play Templar, you put it on somebody, you do damage to them, it saves it up, and then it gives it all to them at the same time, feeds it to them for breakfast. And yeah, Toppling Charge. This is probably one of the best stuns in the game. It is a gap closer. It does decent damage. It stuns, of course, like I said, it sets people off balance, which We don't have the CP passive to get extra damage to off-balance people, but, you know, it's some food for thought. But we do actually get the ability to heavy attack them for extra resources, since they are off balance, and that stacking with our heavy armor passive really does give us some nice powerful heavy attacks when we need to get magic back. And it also interrupts, so you don't need to bash people, you can use this. Then we do have Elemental Drain for some more penetration on top of the spinners that we have in the sharpened staff, so this helps us push out a lot more damage. That also gives us a minor magic steal, so that way when we are doing damage to people consistently, we are getting back 300 magicka every second, so that is very helpful. Then I have Dark Flare. I would say if there's a flex spot on this build, there's two of them, and this is one of them. I'd say you could sub in Reflective Light for an AoE dot that applies to everyone around you and gives you your critical buff, which we are getting in the build through potions, but you know, it's an option. You could also change this morph of Dark Flare to the other one, which is AoE damage over time thing that also gives you, what is it, Empowerment, which will make your lightning staff light attacks hit pretty hard, which is pretty good as well. You could do Entropy if you want to. You could stick all kinds of damage here. You could even throw in what is it, Mage Light for more magic and crit on the front bar. It's really up to you. You could even, hell, you could put on Soul Splitting Trap, Elemental Blockade. I actually played around with this for a little bit. It's not bad in group situations and in tight enclosed spaces like in towers, especially with the shock staff, sets everyone off balance and it concusses them. It does a lot of damage. So yeah, those are all your options. But the reason I go with Dark Flare is because, one, it is bursty. Let's go ahead and buff up the spell damage real quick just so you can see how much damage it does. About 14k damage, which is like it's like a Dizzy Swing pretty much. And it also defiles. Now the defile is the real kicker here for me, because healing being so low this patch makes defile really nasty to have on you. Since you're already not healing for much of anything, you're basically killing yourself while trying to heal when defiled. So it hits really hard with burst. You can topple people as it's flying towards them and just get them with a really powerful burst combination. Hit them with the Elemental Drain first, then the Purifying Light. Charge up your Dark Flare, topple in, hit them with a Crescent or some sweeps. They'll usually die unless they are pretty damn tanky. Any of the squishy boys you can easily catch off guard with this. Now, going on to the back bar, our back bar ultimate is Swarming Scion. Also, the front bar ultimate is Crescent Sweep. Forgot to mention that. There are no real other options. You could do Meteor, that's about it. I wouldn't use anything else but Crescent Sweep on front bar. Back bar, though, there are more options. So, I'm using Swarming Scion. I use this more as a defensive ult rather than an offensive ultimate, because when you activate this, you gain an additional 10,000 of all your max stats, and it full heals you as well. So this bumps me up to about 40k health immediately, and we heal for 19% of all damage we do, and this gives us an AoE damage around us every second. So this is really good at keeping us in the fight and helping us out when we're getting outnumbered really heavily, and just gives us enough time to readjust and move around wherever we need to go, reapply buffs, maybe even get off some heavy attacks, you know? Really helps stay alive. You could also use Temporal Guard, which I don't have. You could also use the Sword Portal, which I don't have. But those are the other two options. Hell, you could even use the Templar Healing Ultimate or Nova. Both of those I do not have, but those are also both good options. Now this is the other flex spot here, Living Dark. I really like Living Dark because healing in this patch is not the best, but, you know, buffing up our spell damage. Now, remember that we are on an Alliance resource thingamajig right now, so I'm getting a 20% buff to healing. But as you can see, this is 3.4k health every half second when we are taking consistent damage, which is like 7k health per second just about, when we're fully buffed up and we're near an Alliance objective. So that is quite a lot of healing on top of our ritual healing, and on top of our sweeps, you know, putting some damage down into the groups. And, you know, when everything else fails, we have Honor the Dead. Again, I'm just going to buff up for you guys so you can see the tooltips on the main heal here. 17k. This is pretty nice because we are in heavy armor as well. So popping this, it's about an 8k heal when we have our combat medic and all of our good stuff procced up. This is of course without continuous, and if you chose to use a weapon damage enchant on your weapon, this is without that as well. So both of those could help you get more healing and more damage, obviously. But yeah. So, after Living Dark, we do have the extended ritual. Do not use damage ritual. If you do, you are a fool. Simple as that. This one gets rid of 5 negative effects and gives you a strong heal over time. Then we have Channeled Focus. This is our armor buff, as well as a Magicka Sustain tool, giving us about 500, I think. Yeah, 480 Magicka Recovery equivalent, as well as just giving us the armor, and when we're inside of it, we get 50% extra armor, so we can really turtle up inside of all this stuff here. You know, getting a lot of passive healing, lots of block mitigation because of the change to the Templar passive not too long ago that makes us have extra block mitigation when we're inside of our ritual. So this is a really good way to just turtle up and stay alive. And then Elusive Mist. Now this skill is a goddamn mess. Let me tell you why. This thing is so good. The change they made to it is amazing. The bad thing is that it doesn't fucking work half the time. See this little animation? See how your character does this little thing where they throw their hands back? Yeah, half the time you'll be in a fight, you'll do this, and then the character just won't go into mist form. You'll just come back out like a douchebag. And then everyone will stun you. They'll try to pop like 3 or 4 mist forms, and this is what happens right here. You know, you're just trying to get away. It's not happening. It's not working for you. And then you just die. It's terrible. It's the worst thing in the world. But when it does work, it is super good. And you can stay in it damn near infinitely. And it's just really good at moving around and repositioning, all kinds of good stuff. This thing's great. It makes you really tanky. And it even gives you a spell damage buff when you use it. If you don't want to have to deal with the RNG of Mistform working, you can slide in Race Against Time, gives you some extra critical damage, and makes you a real quick boy, which is always fun. You will take a lot of damage trying to move around with this in comparison, so get ready to hold that block button even more. But I like to just deal with Elusive Mist because it is so good when it works. And then of course Honor the Dead. Primary burst heal, and gives us back some resource when we use it at low health. If you play Templar, you know what this does already. You just press X over and over and you stay alive. Or at least that used to be how it worked, not so much this patch. But yeah, that is it for these skills. And finally, we're going to go ahead and look at my CP. My CP, I moved around a whole lot. I'm not going to go too in-depth, but I will give you just a quick overview. 20% Ironclad, about 800 crit resist, some points into Thick Skin just because there is a lot of dot this patch. More into Hardy than Elemental Defender because we are a Breton and we are a Templar. Both of those give us spell resistance, so you can put a little more into Hardy because we are just naturally a little tankier versus magic attacks. And I do have 64 into Quick Recovery just to make our heals heal more. And then some Heavy Armor Focus to again get up that physical resistance. 1 into Siphoner to give people an additional thing to cleanse. 56 Warlord, 75 Arcanist, 49 Tenacity, 28 Tumbling, 61 Shadow Ward again so we can hold block for as long as we want. 56 into Blessed because again I don't want to die, so heal, heal, heal. Elfborn, 10% there because we don't crit too much. Elemental Expert, 56 points, and then Spell Erosion, 54. This is a little bit of a weird number, but I just dumped extras in there because I had them. If you want to, you can take some points out of healing, and you probably won't feel it too bad. And you can beef up your damage a little bit more. I'd say to keep it around 5% in there at least, and then bump that up to 13. And then Elfborn yourself up to as high as it'll let you go. And that's probably the best way to go for some extra damage. But we are getting quite a lot of extra healing from this, and the more that your Honor the Dead heals you in one cast, the less times you have to cast it. Even if it is only like 400 or 500 extra health, it is a really big difference, especially when you consider all of the other healing we have going on. So just that, those extra little incremental changes, you know, just a little bit more. Just squeeze that a little bit more so you don't have to heal as much. Really helps sustain. And 81 Mastered Arms. This is where the rest of the damage comes from, because everything we have is direct damage. Every single thing. And that is it for CP. Now, finally, I'm just going to touch on potions real quick, because I always do. I have Alliance Spell Droughts. You could use regular spell power potions. They're slightly better, not a real big difference. They give... what is it? They give back Magicka, spell damage, and spell crit. And then for really hairy fights, I like to use tripods. Again, I'm pretty poor right now. I only have 10 regular tripods left, so I've got the crown pots on deck. Tripods, again, they just give us back all of our resources. Really helpful to keep that stamina up, so we can again hold block as much as we want to. You do lose out on damage by using these pots, but sometimes you just kind of have to. And then we do have detect pots, just regular detects, nothing fancy here. There are additional effects you can get on them, but I don't have them. And that is it for potions. Yeah. So that is the end of the build section here. And now I'm just going to go ahead and hop over into some gameplay clips, some outnumbered fights with some commentary for you guys. Crack a couple jokes, just kind of talk about what's going on. The clips aren't too incredibly insane, mostly because every time I was about to get a great clip, Mistform decided to fuck me in the butt. So it is what it is, but I do have some, some decent clips for you. So we're just gonna hop over there right now. Alright, so jumping in here to the first clip, it is just a bit of a straight up fight outside of Sejanus, starting off with a quick burst on this Lobby. Just gotta lay down the Templar Big Dick, because I am Alpha Templar and I don't tolerate that weak shit in my presence. Now this DK decides he wants the smoke, and then in the same thought decides he no longer wants said smoke and runs away like a little girl, which is fine, because it lets me see this other DK who decides to res, which I don't allow. Now I see a runner. Decide I'm going to focus on him, but I do gotta watch that body because I don't want that guy getting back up. Luckily another yellow comes in and bashes that DK, so I'm going to go and let this yellow focus on him while I chase this runner. But it looks like another yellow actually decides to chase that runner, so I'll chase the guy chasing him. It is a roly-poly Nightblade, nothing too ridiculous. He's a little bit low CP, well not low CP, but not max. Takes a lot of damage real quick, so I know I can just jab him to death, which I do. Put him down real quick, and we're all good. Reapply my buffs, just because I'm being careful to make sure there's no snipers or anything around. I don't want to just die from desync without having a chance to react. Walk back up the hill just to see what's going on, see that DK that was trying to res, who decides he wants to get jiggy with it. He starts rotating on me, hits me with the burst, so I go ahead and block, reapply my heals, and starts to rotate on him. He decides that he doesn't want to fight anymore now that he's taken some damage, runs back into his group, which all then subsequently jump on top of me, so I'm going to run away from them. I try to jump on top of this extra tall rock here, and that doesn't work for obvious reasons. Turn around, look at the group. They're not chasing me yet, so I channel a heavy attack on this guy just to get a little bit of extra mag back when I see that they're coming to say hello. So I go ahead and cleanse off those dots and Mistform up into this little tower thingy here. Lay down my house, my rune, my ritual, and go ahead and get ready to engage. Go ahead and put the rotation down on this guy. He takes a lot of damage. If he would have stayed up there, he would have died. Luckily for him, he got away. Now this Lobby comes up here, really ballsy. I give him points for that. There's a lot of guys coming up. I channel a heavy attack, pop a pot to get my magic back, and then just go ahead and reapply buffs here and start jabbing. Now, there's so many people here that the jabs heal me for a lot. I see this guy go low health, so I go ahead and just to finish him off with the pokes. Pop the ultimate there as the other DK decides he no longer wants this, which is fine. Now I see the other Lobby that decided to ult me earlier, the one with the balls. I show him what those balls are worth, and it is not really all that much, so I'm just going to poke him to death, making sure that I keep my buffs up, of course. And he goes down. I'm getting hit for 1k snipes. I ignore them completely and just go ahead and annihilate this DK, dot him up, and put him down. And that is the end of this fight. It does go on a little bit longer, but I don't really get anything interesting, so we're just going to leave it there. Alright, next clip is just a real quick 1v3. Nothing really impressive, but I thought it was a little bit amusing. So I'm going to go ahead and hop right on in. I'm just going to size up the situation. I try to burst this guy. He's a healer. He's got the Earth Core and the healing ults, so that's obnoxious. Hold block there for a second just to see what kind of damage these guys are packing. See what I'm dealing with. I got a Mag DK, I got a healer, and I got a Mag Blade. Now, I decided I'm going to go ahead and focus the Mag Blade first because he's Mag CP, but he's also squishy and he'll probably have the most damage, so I'm going to go ahead and make him my primary target, keep the pressure up on him with the Purifying Light, and of course the Elemental Drain. I keep my buffs up as well though, because I really don't want to get exposed by these guys, and also the whole Mag DK with Growthdar thing this patch is really annoying, so I go ahead and put the combo down on this guy, but accidentally hit the guy behind him with the Dark Flare, so it doesn't go perfectly, but luckily this guy does go down into the dirt anyway. Now the DK catches a Earth Core right as I'm trying to transition over to him, so I hold block for a second and just kind of reevaluate. Go ahead and bash that res because I'm not having any of that shit, and then drop the DK onto his ass, finish him off, and then right here I say fuck it, why not just let him res, because honestly what is he gonna do? So I go ahead and set up the combo on the guy that just got back up, poke him some more, and then poke him a little bit more, and he just goes down. And now the healer is going to panic, he's going to hit the healing ult, he's going to get the Earth Core proc, and nothing's going to save him. He's just going to die anyway, and that is the end of that clip. Now this last clip was just a pretty good bit of fun. I see this ganker here who I just killed, so I decided to set up a little gank of my own. I pop the Detect Pot to catch him, just in case he decides to go stealth when he gets up. Hit him with the Dark Flare into the topple right here with the Detect Pot up so he cannot get away. And just poke him until he is not moving anymore. And then I go right back into stealth. This guy rezzed a Lobby that I killed as well. I don't really care about him too much. I just kind of want to see if I can gank this guy again when he gets up, but then I see another Nightblade over here and reveal a third Nightblade at the same time. So now there are 3 Nightblades since I did not stop the res, and naturally they are indeed all snipers. So I'm going to hide behind this rock for a second just to see if any of them get ballsy enough to engage, keep my buffs up, take a step out to see what's going on when I do catch the gank. Luckily he's low health, so I go ahead and kill him real quick when the second ganker pops up with the bow ultimate. I counter ult myself and drop him real quick when the third sniper shows up, and then the fourth sniper shows up. There's now a fourth one on the scene, so I hold block, pop my breaths, and just try to stay alive while doing some damage. This guy whiffs his ultimate, but I do not whiff mine, and then I do not whiff my stun, and then I slap him with yet another ultimate. So that is the end of the third sniper. We got 3 dead. Now I'm going to play the long game here and just watch these bodies because I don't know what that fourth sniper is going to do. Pop the Detect Pot and just walk around and stealth myself just to see if I can get a beat on him when I see another character come up here and stealth up. So now I've got another Nightblade to deal with when I see a Mag Sork. Go ahead and line up the little gank on him. He's got the Mag Sork stun that applies when you hit him, so it kind of ruins it. He pops the resto, so I back off and just kind of try to stay alive here. I see that sniper again, so I pop the Detect Pot so it doesn't catch me by surprise when I see the Mag Blade that showed up earlier, so go ahead and try to kill him real quick since he's only 600 CP and it's not too difficult to put him down. Now I go ahead and focus on the Mag Sork when the sniper pops up in the corner there. Go ahead and kill him, and then it's just me and the Mag Sork. Now, this is a bit of a rough fight because I am low on resources. I'm halfway through pot cooldown and I've been using fucking no good pots, just the Detect potions, but obviously I kill this guy. So I'm just going to let you guys watch that. I'm going to go ahead and call the video here. I hope you liked it. You know, Magplar is in a weird spot right now, but it's fun. You know, I've been enjoying it. It's rough though. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and head out. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. And yeah, that's it. Take care.